So good morning students. Today let us solve phases of compiler. A is equal to B into C minus D. Okay. Now first is lexical analyzer. Okay. In the lexical analyzer we will identify the token. Right. So if we identify the token, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are totally 7 tokens. Okay. Now meanwhile what will happen is in the symbol table, right, for 4 identifiers ID1, ID2, ID3 and ID4. 4 identifiers will be created and memory will be allocated. The second phase is your syntax analyzer. In your syntax analyzer, we will be constructing the syntax tree. So when we construct the syntax tree, first multiplication will be done. So B is ID2 star C is ID3. Now the multiplied value will be subtracted from D, that is our ID4. The resultant value will be assigned to A, that is our ID1. So this is our syntax tree. Next is our semantic analyzer. In the semantic analyzer, we will be checking for coercions, that is type checking, right, and type conversions. So here there is no constant, so the tree remains the same. Next is our intermediate code generator. In the intermediate code generator, 3 address code will be generated. So from the leaf towards the root, you are supposed to number the intermediate nodes as T1, T2, T3, dot dot dot. Okay. Now this will be T1. Now this will be T2. Okay. Now next what will happen is, so in your in the intermediate code, what will happen is your T1 will be is equal to ID2 into ID3. Okay. Now T2 will be equal to T1 minus ID4. And this resultant value I am going to assign to T2. Right. So this is our ICG phase. Next is our code optimizer. In our code optimizer, we are supposed to reduce the code. So when you reduce the code, what will happen is, now this this one we cannot do anything. Now here I can directly assign the value. So my reduced code will be T1 is equal to ID2 into ID3, and directly I'll assign to ID1. There is no necessary of T2 there. So T1 minus ID4 will come here. Okay. Next phase is our code generator. So we will be going for assembly language for code generator. So in our code generator, what will happen is we are supposed to load the value of ID1. So load F R1 comma ID 2, right, then load F R2 comma ID3, right, and then what we will do is we'll multiply R1 and R2 and we will store in R1. Then we are going to load ID4 in R3. So after we load ID4 in R3, we are supposed to subtract the value. Right, so subtract F. Here F stands for float. Right, so you are going to subtract R1 minus R3 and you are going to store in R1. Finally, the resultant value I am going to store in ID1. So this is the end of phases of compiler. So when you see the phases of compiler, I repeat once again, A is equal to B into C minus D. First one is your token separation. There are 7 tokens. Meanwhile, in the symbol table, memory will be allocated, and for 4 identifiers, ID1 to ID4 will be allocated. Second phase is the syntax tree. So you are supposed to construct the syntax tree depending on the priority. So first multiplication will be done, then subtraction, then final assignment will be done. The third phase is your semantic analyzer, coercions. That is, we'll check for type checking and type conversions. Since there is no constant, the semantic analyzer output will remain the same. Okay, the fourth phase is intermediate code generator. Here we are going to generate the 3 address code, that is the we are going to number the intermediate nodes and the root with the temporary variables t1, t2, t3. Okay, t1, t2, t3 from leaf towards the root. So now here, after you see this tree, now t1 will be equal to id into id3, and then t2 will be t1 minus id4. Finally you are assigning t2 to id1. Code optimization, we are reducing the code. Now first line we cannot do any change, and this in the second and third line can be combined into a single line. The last phase of our compiler is our code generator. So we generate the assembly language. So that's the end of the phases of compiler problem. Thank you, students.